Hi again. So this one is for those of you who have questions about using individual databases. So your text talked about this. I think I talked about it in the lecture videos. There are advantages and disadvantages to using just a single database. So years ago, when I first started working at ETBU, this was the only way that you could access scholarly level content in the way of journal articles. Was to go in and search individual databases. So when we say that, we mean things like Academic Search Complete is a database, JSTOR is a database, Business Source Complete is a database. There's lots of different databases, as you guys saw in your discussion this week. The way that we organize these, and I'm going to share my screen. The way that we organize these on our website is you can go to databases. We do go ahead and list the most popular ones. So a lot of people use JSTOR. Here's my thing for you about JSTOR that most people don't realize. In most cases, like probably more than 90% of the time, JSTOR is going to be at least 4 to 6 years behind in terms of the scholarly conversation. JSTOR literally means journal storage. And so what we like about JSTOR is if a journal is in JSTOR, usually it goes back to the very beginning of that journal. And so if we have a journal that's been published for over 100 years, we're going to have the full run is how we would refer to that. We're going to have the full deal on that. Lots of students like to search JSTOR because the interface is seemingly easy. I find it myself a little harder because it doesn't use those subject terms that we learned about that some of the other databases use. And so sometimes you have to be pretty good with your search terms that you type in, but a lot of people are comfortable with it. And so if you have a topic where the last 4 or 5 years is not going to be super important to discussing your topic currently, then JSTOR is fine. If you have something that you think in the last 4 or 5 years, hence all you science people, then I would say you can look in JSTOR, but make sure you look other places where there's more current information. Academic Search Complete is the one that I had you guys search in during week 3. It's kind of like an academic buffet. It has mainly journal articles. Probably more than 90% of the content are journal articles. That may not even be right, but a significant portion of it is journal articles, but it has a little bit of everything in it. Credo is a reference database, and so it only has encyclopedia articles in it. It's what we usually tell people to use when they are starting their research, because this is not where the actual research is being reported, like somebody just studied something and wrote up a report on it. This is usually a summarization of the last 10 to 15 years of information on this topic, kind of boiled down, sort of like what you see with Wikipedia. They're not bad to use, but they're probably middle of the road. They don't have a peer review, although we do expect that experts have written them, and we know that they're come from trusted publishers. And so it makes us feel a little bit better about telling you to use them than something like Wikipedia. But the fun fact with Wikipedia is that a scientific study was done of it several years ago to determine its validity, and they found it to be pretty much on par with the Encyclopedia Britannica. So just, keep those things in mind. And even within Credo, so there are some really general encyclopedia articles, and then there will be some that are really specific that do a good job of citing the sources within the text of what they're writing. And so those are better even than some of the other articles in Credo. So you still have to evaluate things. ATLA is our religion database. PsycArticles is our psych database. If you don't think that your topic is going to be in one of those spots, then if you go back up to all databases and click on this, it takes you to this big A to Z list. Now, sometimes people get confused and search up here. This would only search the title of the database. So this is usually, that search tool is not, in my opinion, very useful at all. But if you weren't sure about which one you should go in, number one, we've got descriptions on all of them. So you can always read the little blurb below the database and find out what's in it. For most of you, probably the easiest way to navigate this is to go in and look under your subject, and you kind of have to think large scale here to think like who would be talking about this. Some of you have some topics that are within sports and kinesiology. When you click on that, it's going to show you what our best bets are. So we go through these and we say, hey, we think these are probably going to be your best bet. Also, here's all these other ones that may have something on your topic in them. And so in this case, I can tell you, just look in sports. Discus with full text is our premier sport information database. And so that's probably where I would recommend you went if you came up to me at the reference desk and asked for a question related to kinesiology research. If you are in psych, which a lot of you are not directly in psych, but psych covers a lot of things. And so it's a fairly good bet that psych articles may be helpful to you. You could also look in the psychology and behavioral sciences collection, the psychology collection. There are overlaps in all of these. They don't all have, some of them have exclusive content in them, but a lot of times we'll see the same database show up in multiple databases. And so same journal article show up in multiple databases. So that's not uncommon, but that is an option for you as you search. The reason I would tell you to search here, maybe in addition to searching Tiger Prowl, is sometimes because Tiger Prowl gives us so much back that it's hard to know if we have really done a good search of the literature, which is what we refer to when we're talking about peer-reviewed journal articles in a specific academic discipline on a topic. So if we were trying to think about, did we really do a good search of the literature on this particular subject? Sometimes it's easier to do that in a database that only has that kind of content in it. Whereas with Tiger Prowl, you're searching across all of the different databases. And so if someone used the term that you typed in nursing, then you're going to get a nursing article in your results. And so this kind of helps filter through some of that as well to search it this way. There's not necessarily a right or wrong there, just a preference and what works best for you. Happy searching.